It is a beautiful day, blue sky, blue jumper, blue jeans, blue trainers. And the reason I'm wearing blue is because I'm going to be talking about living. Seen something keep popping up all over the last week, and even this weekend it popped up as well. And I just couldn't not share what I had to say about it. So that's why I'm wearing blue this morning. So before we talk about it, let's just talk about the colours, put it all in context. So 3 green behaviours: thinking, communicating and improving. Those are the things that if you have them in your diary in the right proportion will take your business, your people and you upwards, make you better. Then there's the amber behaviour: monitoring and directing, just 2 of them. Those are the things that are going to manage risk, maintain status quo, keep things where they are. Then there's red behaviour: doing, and brown behaviour: floating. You have those in your diary too much, then they could take you, your people and your organisation backwards, make you worse. But there is one other colour. Don't often talk about it, but we will be talking about it a lot more soon. And that's blue. And blue behaviour is for living. It's not about work, it's about doing the things outside work, but it's also about working flexibly as well. So, about 2 weeks ago I did a video, and the thing that I was reflecting on was the fact that I almost went through a little mini burnout, lockdown burnout. And I had a bit of a realisation, made a bit of a change, and it completely changed everything for me. Now the thing is that since then, I've seen loads of posts on social media, and I've heard loads of people talking to me about the fact that they're going through a very similar thing. And even this weekend, I was talking to somebody and the same thing came out. And I thought, well, why don't I talk about what it was I did to stop that from happening? And hopefully it will help you guys out as well. So all I did, it's really, really simple. All I did was I decided to put more blue time in my diary in advance. I made it the non-negotiable. It seems as if even when we were at work before COVID-19, we would tend to do everything we thought we needed to do at work, and then we would fit in our blue time, our living, around that. And I decided that I was going to flip it the other way around. I've created what I call a foundation week. And that foundation week is a week. If you were to go look at next week in my diary or the week after, not this week because I've done my diary detox on Friday. So this week has been taken care of, but you'd still see the elements of it. If you were to look for the following week and the following week after that, you will see what I call a foundation week. And that foundation week has everything planned in that I know I can predict right now. And whilst that would have traditionally been meetings with other people and meetings that I had arranged, what that now includes is my blue time. So every day between 12 and 1, it has an hour for exercise. Every day between 1 o'clock and 1:30, it has lunch. Every day at 5 o'clock, it has walking low-key the dog. But there's also one thing, because you'd have thought that had been enough, but it's not. I don't know if you noticed this, but you're probably more productive than you have ever been right now. It may seem, you may not believe it, but believe me, you are. I read a book by a guy called Andrew Barnes. It's called The 4-Day Week. And what's interesting is that when he started thinking about, by the way, he's a CEO of a financial services organisation called Perpetual Mutual over in New Zealand. And he's also now the architect of the 4-Day Week. And what was interesting is that his idea for experimenting with the 4-Day Week actually came from an article that he was reading on a plane. I believe it was The Economist. I should check it up because I keep saying I believe it was The Economist. And what was interesting is this article said that on average, people are productive for only 2.5 hours a day. Even though you spend 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours at work, you're only productive for 2.5 of them. And so he thought, well, if I can just get an extra half hour out of everybody on each of those days, then I could give them the Friday off. Crazy idea. The thing is, it's true. It did work. He was very successful with it. And now he's creating a global movement. But the thing is that we are more productive because, I don't know if you've noticed this, but now that you're working from home, you're interrupted less. Open Plan is not creating the interruptions it once did. So of course, where you are now is that whereas you once would have probably been productive for 2.5 hours a day, probably convincing yourself you had been productive for more. Oh wow, a deer in the background. You see it just going over the top of the hill? Look at that. Although you'd have convinced yourself that you probably were being productive for far more than that, you probably weren't. And now you're at your desk at home. You're working, you're going to a meeting, you're doing more work, you're going to a meeting. You haven't even got time to go to the toilet. You're probably going to the toilet in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the following meeting, if you manage to make your previous meeting finish on time. So the thing that I did, not only did I have my exercise in, not only did I have my lunch in, not only did I have my dog walks in, so I actually finished at a reasonable time, the other thing that I decided to put in were break times during the day. So I have a mid-morning break of between 15 minutes and half an hour. I make it half an hour. Go to the toilet, make a cup of tea, drink the cup of tea, just sit down and think about stuff. You can have a browse through social media if you really, really want to. But I have a half-hour break mid-morning and I have a half-hour break mid-afternoon. Okay? In an 8-hour day, actually, I probably do 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock. So 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 hours. So 9 hours, take off 1 hour for lunch, 8 hours. Take off, 1 hour for exercise, take off half an hour for lunch. That is 7.5 hours. Take off an hour for breaks. That is 6.5 hours. 6.5 hours productivity versus 2.5 normally. You're working far more than you ever have. Give yourself a break, literally. Put some blue time in your diary, create a foundation week, then fit everything else around it. You can always move your breaks around, just don't get rid of them. What you'll find if you do that is you are far more energized when you go into each of your meetings, far more energized when you do your work. And when you get to the day, when you really get to the nub of your blue time, you're not completely mentally shattered, okay? Really simple one. Do it every week. Put it in now, make them recurring. Make sure they're there for every week into your future and plan around them. That's it. Can't really say much more. Blue behavior works because you need a rest. Anyway, have a great day. Have a great week.